When we were talking about you coming on the show, we were comparing storytellers and comedians, and you said, more of a one-liner.
Right.
And, a one-liner joke is delivered, it's concise, it's meaningful, but, I'd still argue that jokes have a narrative structure, because I've seen your sets, so I've seen your setup, you have this, and then you go into sort of this dialogue sometimes between you and somebody else, and then the punchline, which is literally the humorous ending of your short story. But when you call yourself a one-liner and not much of a storyteller, what does that mean to you? Like, when in comedy, what's the difference?
Well, to me, a storyteller, and I agree with it, they're both kind of different versions of storytelling, but the other type of comedy is, can't think of a real example, but like I say, a comedian does a bit about, I need to go to the supermarket to pick up a half gallon of milk, which should be a simple thing. Supermarkets nearby, not a very exciting story, but they make it interesting. I couldn't find my keys. I asked my wife. She took my keys to work by accident. And it's like a series of jokes within a story. And I also think it's an easier type of style of comedy to memorize because you are telling a longer story that take little detours of problems and complications that can be funny, whereas each joke I tell is a joke within itself.
It's a standalone.
It's standalone, and the next joke I tell you probably has no connection or relation to the other one I just told you.
Yeah.
I try to group like 2 or 3 jokes together, like these are relationships. These are jokes about codependency. These are jokes about work, exercise. So my set was just kind of thrown together without organizing it that way. And I get the impression the audience seemed to like it more like, we have no idea what kind of crazy, bizarre thing this guy is going to say next.
Mm-hmm. When I think about the storytelling on stage, I remember this one comedian. I couldn't tell you the joke, but he had this whole storyline around this air conditioner. It started with like dragging it out, and then his wife, and then his daughter came in the room, and then there was something going on in the household, and da-da-da-da-da. And then he left the house, but he pointed out to somebody about the air conditioner, and it was like, it was sort of this like satisfying end, like when he got to the end, you're like, aha, I caught on to that. So like what you were talking about, sort of the how order is really important to sets.